Can anybody unmute themselves and let me know at least that you can talk?
Hi, Jenny. It's Antoinette.
Hey, lady, how are you today?
I'm well, thank you.
How was your weekend?
It was good. It was quiet.
Quiet. Well, those are good weekends too. I mean, they're nice to have. They're important to have.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part?
Just being still.
You've got a gift.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got little ones in my home, but it was nice being still for a moment.
All right, awesome. Well, I'm grateful that you enjoyed that, and I think it's super important and therapeutic in its own right to have times where we just hang out and not have to go and find something cool to do.
Exactly.
That's super awesome and super healthy. So I am happy for you, and I'm happy that you're happy about it.
Thanks.
Okay, guys, so we are recording. Fortunately, I won't have to upload this or beg YouTube to approve it and go through that whole phase. So a couple of kind of housekeeping things real quick before I get started. First and foremost, for anybody who's on this call or possibly listening to the recording, because there's not a whole bunch on this call right now, I have decided pretty concretely that I'm going to establish a not-for-profit, nonprofit 501(c) in a field that I have no experience in an area where I know nothing. And when I say nothing, I mean like probably less than nothing. So I've got a lot of background, or a reasonable amount of background, in humanitarian efforts, but nothing in terms of conservation. So I've got a really good friend who I'm close to, who's super passionate about all the creatures and you know, creepy crawler things in all the naturey places in the world, and the balance that brings, the part where it's all connected. So I've got some pretty good ideas, and at this point I've got a handful of amazing people. So if you're interested in being a part of that, or maybe have any expertise in terms of conservation, in terms of nonprofits, in terms of website designs, we have plenty of photographers, but anybody who might know anything at all, or just wants to be a part of something special, part of something challenging or unique and new, or you feel as though you might have something you can bring to the table, we are going to be looking for several board members. I will make it a privately funded organization, so board members are required for that. So having said that, if you have any insight or are interested, please private message me. I've got a list of people on my desk, a handful of lawyers, and a couple of pretty amazing people so far, but I forgot to announce that on last Tuesday's call, so I wanted to announce it tonight. Just a chance to give back in a way that we, even for those of you who don't know anything like myself, well, we can put in some man hours and time as an investment over money to learn what we don't know and to maybe grow something that's amazing and make an impact, because you know, God commanded us to take care of this planet, right? And that includes the whole balance as a whole. So it will be interesting and fun, and you'll get to work alongside some amazing people. So please let me know if that's something you are interested in or have a heart for. Next housekeeping thing, there's been a lot of talk in terms of coaching, in terms of how do you say, other systems and necessity things. I will stress again, for the most part, what you need is within you. Like, so everything you need to be successful in this industry, you already possess. And sometimes, yes, one-on-ones are helpful. There's not a whole bunch that a one-on-one is going to give you, except for individual time and attention, that a lot of these classes that we're already doing is not going to provide. It takes mindset, though. It takes diligence. It takes personal growth. We already know that this stuff is literally 5 or 10% of the battle. 95% of it is your emotions, the psychology of it, your mental understanding, your mindset, your appetite for risk and ability to hold on, ability not to, I mean, either way, like 95% of it is psychological. So having said that, let's do our best to stay the course. I said this in the six-figure group today, that I think it was today. I can't say when it's going to happen for you or how long it will take you. I can just say that if you are willing to put in the time and willing to put in the work to understand and comprehend what these charts mean, they're not just lines, numbers, dots, and indicators. This is an entire country's currency. This is political data. There's numeric rules, and then there's this whole other world attached to it. So if you put in the time, I can't say when, and I can't say how long it will take you, but at some point, you're going to reach the point where you can replace your income. Whether or not you get to 6 figures and 7 figures isn't even the point. At some point, you're going to make enough to replace your income part-time from home. And if that's not your priority, if your priority isn't to be debt-free, if your priority isn't to maybe replace your income or pay for your mother's retirement home, if your priority isn't in line, there's no amount of signals charts or anything that will help you get past your own personal place where you're at in life, your understanding and comprehension of money, being a good steward of what you already have, paying off debt, and just being responsible with what you already have. So I wanted to say that at some point, guys, you're going to get there, but it's going to take diligence. Please, if you don't have a trade journal, please get one. Please create one. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be my way or so-and-so's way. Some of us are better than others. Some people are way more attention to detail than myself, and some people are less, and that's okay. But the whole concept is you need to track what you're doing and why you're doing it, how you see it and what you saw. Track what works and what doesn't. The market flows throughout different seasons and times of the year and economic, political climate. So, and if you don't have that, definitely get a trade journal, and also start compounding. Stop gambling. Stop just saying, I'm going to put a 0.1 or I'm going to put a 5.0 and then I'm going to put a 0.09 because that sounds like a good lot size. Compound appropriately. Use a set of rules to enter and exit the trade. Because even if they're awful rules, the truth is they're going to have X amount of percentage of accuracy. They don't even have to be great. They just have to be consistent. And before you ever give up on a set of the rules, the last thing I'm going to say is, please don't give up on it until like an entire month has passed. Because I think BP Morgan said it way better than me. Some people just have that gift. Takes me 5 paragraphs, takes somebody else 5 sentences. So he had said something in one of his videos that said, these people test a strategy and they take one losing trade and they take one losing trade. They take, well, here, that's a bad example. Let's find a good example. So they take a trade. I'm gonna have to find a bad example. Just give me a minute. A better example where it's consolidating. Let's say from here, we thought we were going to buy, right? So we take a trade, we lose the trade, we lose the trade, we lose the trade. Let's say we lost 5 trades in a row. Well, we stopped trading that strategy right before that 6th trade that would have ate up all of those losses, plus put you in profit for the week. So risk management and sticking with this for 30 days is massively, massively important, because you're never going to know if that set of rules works if you don't stick with it long enough to find out the accuracy. A couple losses in a row is not reason to quit that strategy. It's not reason to give up, and it's not reason to stop that. So let me text message my daughter real quick. Actually, I forgot my water out there. Hold on. Real quick, because my mouth is going to get so dry. Water. She should get that. She's always on her iPhone. So anyways, just some basic stuff. Please keep your rules. Please keep a trade journal. Risk management. Please understand that you will get there. And the less you keep seeking everything else, your golden nugget, the golden indicator, and the more time you spend looking at actual candles, actual support and resistance, the more time you spend on rules, the more time you spend on your trade journal, analyzing trades you took and analyzing trades you didn't take, you'll cut your learning curve in half. You'll be far beyond other people. So, and I definitely know that I'm not the only one who will say that. A lot of people are giving a lot of attention to Gary. He posts big numbers because he takes big lot sizes. But he takes big lot sizes on some of the same trades we took or looked at, some of the same trades we were in or discussed, which is fantastic. And to you guys, it's exciting and it's thrilling. And it's like, oh my gosh, that would change my life. Like that would pay my bills for 5 months. And of course, that's awesome. But he'll also say it, and I respect him endlessly for being able to say, hey guys, this is price action, and then check your arrows. This is understanding the charts, and then check your arrows. So that's really all it comes down to. Thank you. I forgot my water bottle somewhere out there. Yeah, anyways. Got me a glass of ice water with a bendy straw and everything. See? But anyways. So tonight, what I want to go over, we already all know the CAD pairs are moving. Hey, Chris. They're all moving really, really well, and we can't take them all because that's over leveraging on a single currency pair. And there is a lot of stuff setting up in the markets. If you see a great setup this week and you're up even a couple of pips, please protect it. We've got NFP, FOMC in terms of the US dollar, which is already uber shaky. And then, of course, we have CAD and JPY interest rate decisions. Brexit, I guess, is going to hold off. So the euro and the Great GBP pound, whatever, is pretty safe. So that's where we're at. And if you guys want to look at a pair, please put it in the chat. We'll take a look. So other than all that, what we're going to talk about tonight are these SuperEZ dots. If you guys are in the six-figure group, you know that there's another version. They're the daily dots. They do technically repaint a lot less often. I like them. I feel like they're more stable by far. And I don't know, I like the design of them a little bit better. They are coded, so pretty cool indicator. But needless to say, at the end of the day, the buy-sell lines, for those of you who still have versions of those, the SuperEZ dots, version 1, 2, or 3, and even the daily dots, version 1, 2, 1 or 2, if I'm accurate on that, they're all relatively the same thing. They're all based off of X amount of candles, depending on what the settings are set at, stopping at a certain point and then reversing. So that's kind of the math, and I don't want to get into too much of the coding. Some people will understand it, some people won't, but it's neither here nor there. So on this chart currently, we have these, my purple and my green are the 4-hour dots. My yellow, okay, is the daily dots. And if I'm going to go to a higher time frame, a lot of people have been really turned on by the, that's not big enough. Let's keep going. Still not big enough. Let's try again. Let's go to a bigger time frame. A lot of people are turned on even by the weekly ones. So my white ones are weekly, okay? And I even went as far as to put monthly dots on here. My monthly are blue. They're not going to come up too well because there's enough other ones on here. They're kind of hidden in the white ones clearly. I should probably have made those the biggest. So for the sake of, let's go ahead and do that real quick. Indicator list. And here's how you guys would change these settings. Let me pull this onto the screen, because you know it's only a partial screen share. So this is literally all that's on this chart. It's nothing fancy. If you're looking to change the time frame on your SuperEZ dots, just drag it onto the chart, right click it, or you can click edit. Edit. Oh, sorry, it's out of the screen. I'm like, where is it? It's under my Zoom controls. Really trying here. Okay, and it's going to pop up a menu. From this menu, obviously, you know, you need to have allow DLL imports. There are some indicators that will make it to where everything you put on your chart already allows a DLL imports. Definitely a time saver, kind of nice to have. Here's your settings. You can change your time frame right here. So you can choose if you want to do the higher levels of support and resistance or even the lower ones. So if you're scalping, some of these lower ones might not be a bad idea. Obviously, for the sake of what we do, or I do more accurately, these higher ones are where I like to stay. The ones I like the most are the daily dots. Those are just my personal favorite. These ones are currently set at month. I'm going to make this uber big just so you guys can kind of grasp it. 4 and 4. Okay. So now we are on the monthly time frame. This is Euro on. I don't have a watermark on this broker. My other broker is freezing up. I'm going to have to use the video Derek sent. I know better to do it, but I usually have my VPS company do it. So, but here we go. So this is the monthly time frame. Anytime the candles stop, well, first off, this dot is 1,000% more likely to disappear if the candle is not closed. So if we're going to say, oh, we've got one dot and then we're going to trust it, the odds are these dots weren't here. Now I can run some screen tests just to show you, and I can do some back tests, but anybody who has any knowledge on that knows it takes an ample amount of time that I don't want to waste on tonight's call. So what I will say is, notice how price stopped here. 1, 2, 3 candles before it made a high. The odds are these dots were up right here. Okay, so you probably had a couple of dots. And when this 4th candle appeared and made a higher high, for that one individual month, what would have happened is you would have still saw it visually on the chart. And then, of course, once we actually broke above that, these are going to reset. So the first thing you need to know and understand is that these do repaint. And that's not necessarily bad. It just is going to change the way you use them. Did you say to use both of them? Gary, do you have access to the daily dots in the 6-figure challenge group? then I would use those. And you'll understand why. We can go over that on Thursday morning if you remember or you're there, okay? Sorry, that was a question in the chat. So moving past that, that's what's going to happen. So let's assume, we can assume pretty safely that these dots were here. Once price stopped here, this dot formed. And because this one formed and then nothing broke through here, the odds are there was a dot here. The odds are there was also a dot here. But once we broke through and this was no longer stable, no, I can't guarantee that, because there's whole kinds of algorithms in terms of like how much it moved and how much it pulled back that I'm not going to go into or try to be a programming expert, because I'm simply not. But once you understand how these work, you can use them appropriately. The first thing we're going to say is, there's been a lot of chat of, do you trust a single dot? My answer is no. So if you're going to trust a dot, now for this conversation, we're going to go down to the daily because the monthly is just way too unrealistic. But for example, if I was just going to trade daily dots and that's it, so daily dots and pick a single EMA, no oscillators, nothing else. So if I was going to trust this is the daily chart. Here's the reality. If when one appears, I don't yet know what's going to happen. And odds are everyone wants to time the top to catch this move, which is a fair enough move. It's the day chart, so I promise it's probably enough pips. Let's find out together. It's almost 200 pips because this is the daily chart. So 200 pips on the daily chart is, sorry about that, it's too easy. It's not difficult in any sense of the way. But you still want to get the best entry, because if you, for example, took this on this candle and it reset, well, now you've lost unnecessarily. But if you were to trade it, exclusively off of the daily chart, and you waited until, for example, we closed below an EMA, we had our 5 and 13 crossover. We know the market makers love that one. You can use the 8 and 18, which I'm fond of, the 35, the 33, the 50. There's a bajillion options. If you're trading the faster entry or the slower entry, again, all those things they're all relative and they're all options. You just have to decide what kind of trader you want to be. But in terms of the dot specifically, I want this candle to close. And if not close, remember, this is going to show up at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 3 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Central. Don't ask me about Hawaiian and Iran time, because I'm going to get it way wrong. But whatever time that is for you, when the market opens, that's when this dot first appears. However, if we get into New York, we've already completed 33% of that. So if New York and you only have a single dot on the daily, I might be willing to trust that. Or if I have 4 yellow dots on the 4-hour chart, okay, that means I have most of the daily candle closed on the 4-hour chart. And I'm sure most of you are going to need to listen to that a couple of times. But either way, that's kind of what we're dealing with, is something that if we know this can disappear, we don't want to take it just off of one. But not only that, other than these enormous wicks, this was probably news. Most of the time, that's not what's going to happen. You're not going to get a single dot and then it just shoots off. Typically speaking, it doesn't work that way. There's always some bounce around or some pullback. So even this one kind of bounced up and it pulled all the way back. So waiting till that second dot is never a bad thing. If anything, it's a safe thing, which is fantastic. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, I'm reading the chats too. There should be plenty of room in the Zoom chat, but I can try to see and call the Zoom people. They should have enough room for 500 people, for anybody who can't get in, just so you guys know. But either way, back to this. If we wait for the second dot on the daily, for example, we only take daily dots from daily dots, just that's it. You're going to have an accuracy of better than 80%, literally with ignoring nothing else, using just the second dot. Now, granted, your stop loss is going to get hit. On this one, it's not pretty because it wicks. The second dot doesn't start till here. So that's a relatively big stop loss. But again, your take profit would be enormous. So you're letting these trades open. There's no targets, if you will, when you're trading support to resistance, resistance to support, because essentially that's all this is. These are dotted versions of where the market has stopped previously. So if we were to take these off and draw some lines, so we pull up the line chart instead of this chart, which I've done on previous trainings, what's going to happen is this is where the market stopped. This is where the market stopped. We're going to get that V kind of perfect point, the jagged edge, the point, not just the rounded thing. This is going to be a point in the line chart. This will be a point, this will be a point, this will be a point, point. So these dots, if you can imagine on a line chart, which I've went over on previous recordings, yes, Godwin, yes, that's very possible. That's how I was trading for months and months. Just so you know. Sorry, I'm trying to answer the questions in the chat as well. And I'm trying not to say too. So you guys can feel welcome to make sure I don't. But that's all we're doing. If we now, so I'm going to take these candles off and I'm going to turn it to the line chart. Now, granted, these EMAs are making it very, very clear. But this green line is now our price. So it is not going to show the wicks. Unfortunately, the line chart never shows the wicks. But that's the zones we're looking at. If you imagine the zones we drew on previous trainings, this is a zone. This is a zone. This is a zone. This is a zone. So comparable to the book, trading in the zone, that's all this is. And once you learn that, then you can safely take this. Granted, this is an ugly wick. This one's not fair. There's no way around the news and the real life part of charting. But excluding that, and either way, this would be a zone if you drew the zones like I taught on the training we did a few weeks ago. Because of how big this wick is, that's a huge zone. That's a huge zone. So my point is still valid. Now, in terms of actively using these for trading, if you take away the arrows and you take away the EMAs, you take away everything. So I'm going to take it away. Well, maybe you guys, I'm going to delete that. I'm going to delete, I don't know, guys. Can I keep my 8? Delete the 50. I'm going to keep my 8 because it makes me happy. What if we only, so one of the people in the group said they're only taking trades that are in the same direction. I'm gonna go to a smaller time frame now, as the weekly, the daily, and the 4-hour, which is a strategy that in theory would work, especially when you couple it with the proper amount of rules and the proper amount of risk to reward. So for example, we can't even see where the weekly is on this one, because this would be daily and oh yeah, Euro CAD, I think. Is it Euro odd? Has a harmonic pattern, or one of them does. I'll have to look. But so here we are. We have green and yellow. So that's 4-hour and daily. Now I'm gonna have to go to a bigger time frame to find out where the weekly is. The monthly is up here, which I think is senseless. For those of you who are on team with not team with Irving, but Elvis's call, he's using the monthly. So for those of you who want to only be in the same direction as the monthly, that's not how I trade, but I'm not going to discourage you from finding your way, whatever way that is. So we can't even see the weekly in this case. So for sake of conversation, I'm going to have to delete that. Hey, Armin, are you unmuting? Yarman, because I keep muting you. Okay.
My apologies. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I hear your little one in the background. I get you. I'm going to delete the monthly for the sake of this, but for those of you who are trying to follow what Elvis is doing and you feel like a genius or you feel like your eyes see it that way, great for you, then that's how you could do it. Ignore everything else, put the monthly dots on there, and only take the yellows that are in the same direction as the monthly. For my purpose, the highest I'd probably trust is the weekly. I focus on pairs for a particular week only if the monthly, weekly, and daily match. That's from Gary Stewart. Are you the one who was on the call? Like, is that the same Gary who's got all like the 5-hour voicemails? Somebody tell me. Gary? Are you the one posting out? No, okay. I just wanted to make sure. I was like, if so, you better come on here. You know you can out-talk me. So I had to pick on you a little bit. Anyway, so everyone has their own way of doing it. To me, that's too much. I'm not going to necessarily care so much what the monthly is doing because it's irrelevant to what I'm trying to accomplish. I'm not trying to accomplish a trade that I hold for like 6 months. I'm still working up to the couple month range just for my level of comfort. I don't see a reason to stay in one lot size for 3 months. Like if I was super busy or something, that would make sense, but for my lifestyle, it doesn't make sense. So either way, going off of some of the things discussed in the group, this is the higher time frame. We have weekly dots. The white ones are weekly. If we only take the daily dots that are in the same direction as the weekly, we're going to miss out on every one of these moves. That's just a lot of moves. Just so you guys can see the pros and cons. So this move, let's measure the biggest move. That's what, geez, that's 880 some odd pips, okay? That's 880 pips because you didn't want to go against the weekly dots. Just so you guys understand the decisions you're making. And then I'm not going to say any are good or bad. And I don't see what Elvis is doing, but I know he's a good trader, okay? Let's see, I have two accounts, one for sniper trading and the other one for long weekly trades. Do you cash out every Friday on both accounts? Crypto FR? Just out of curiosity. Peekaboo. Do you cash out every Friday on both accounts? Yes, the yellow are the daily. Just the weekly one. Gotcha. Yeah, so on my scalping accounts, I withdraw every Friday. I keep those accounts tiny because then I don't mind if I blow it. So I can trade a couple $100 into $5,000 some weeks, some weeks just $1,000, some weeks, I'm barely shy of $700. But mostly I'm playing and I'm strategizing and I'm just testing stuff in that respect. In my more compounding accounts, I don't withdraw until I hit whatever my next personal goal is. So again, some of us, I was talking to a friend telling him that some of us have already made our six figures a couple of times this year. So we're not as hungry and as desperate for like the next trade because we know we'll hit it again and we'll hit it again. We'll lose again. We'll blow a few accounts on the way, but we're not like as hungry and as we see it differently. I don't know how better to say that. I've been compounding now for directly, I think almost 2.5, 3 years probably. That's when I stopped just doing, well, I feel like a 0.03, or this one feels like an 8, this one feels like a 2 standard. And I would just like plug in numbers because I felt like it, or because that's what I wanted. I thought my money to be. I was just gambling. I was stupid. I was wrong. You're welcome for letting me know what you're passing up. Hey, Derek, just so you guys know, I'm not saying anything is right or wrong. In fact, I'm saying the exact opposite. I'm saying anything is possible. So for those of you who are saying, okay, I'm only going to take the ones in the direction of the weekly trade, my opinion doesn't matter. So-and-so's opinion doesn't matter. What matters is your guys' results. So if your results are amazing, you need to stick to those results. Now, if your results are subpar, you need to be open to some other things. That's kind of what I'm getting at. And that's the bottom line of it all. So in regards to this, here's your weekly time frame. This is the move you missed. Okay, or if you only took it to the next set of dots, remember you want at least 2 because you want them to be stable. You missed 500 pips. So to me, that's a silly decision. Now I understand why it's important for people to feel like they have accuracy, people to feel like that they get it or like they're safe. Safety is important. And as for the other gentleman in the group who's posting high numbers, the difference between where he's at and you're at, he is not the only one who was an odd CAD today. I was an odd CAD. There was other people with the same entry as me and even a better entry than me. I'm in odd CAD that we were discussing this morning in the six-figure group. So there's a lot of people in the same trade. The difference is when I'm confident of a trade, I'm going to put 50 standard lots on it. I had 50 standard lots on CAD JPY. I cashed out in profit. I didn't catch this most recent drop. But so when I'm confident of a trade, I go hard. I go all the way in because I can afford to do so. When you guys are confident of a trade, you're like, okay, I've got a $3,000 account, but I'm going to do a 0.07. That's the difference. That's how you're going to get to the point where you're making 18 grand a day and you're happy. And then some days you're like, you know what? I don't feel like trading. I'm going to go to the beach. Today, I'm not going to, answer all my Telegram messages. I'm going to spend time with my children, or I'm going to, go volunteer somewhere. I'm going to do something else with my life. So I just wanted you guys to see this, which this is one thing to see. The next thing, so I already showed you that, yes, this is based off of where the price stops and where it starts. It's based off of X amount of candles, depending on the settings. They're all programmed a little differently. Some are better than others. None of them are perfect, and they all repaint to some extent. So moving past all that, now we're on the 4-hour chart. For those of you who uberly trust or say they only get in based off of these dots, in my experience, and I could be wrong, I potentially could be totally wrong, and I'm 1,000% okay with being wrong. But in my experience, these 4 hours dots repaint like almost 50% of the time. So me and a handful of people who are big on testing something to see the accuracy for the sake of knowledge and growth, we've tested that. So we've tested the different versions. My preference, that's why I know the daily dots are a little bit more accurate, because when you set the daily dots up, they tested 10% higher. But just so you guys know what you're banking on in terms of entries and exits, before you make a decision based off of this, let's again use this as an example. Let's say we sold here. We already know that there's daily support up there and weekly support. We have our daily and then we have 4 hours. So let's pretend we sold, woohoo, we're happy. Or let's say we sold here and now we're really mad, which is what happens every time. Let's play a little bit. Sholin, the purple dots, purple and green, I said are 4 hour. Yellow is daily, white was weekly, and I even had monthly on here for those who are interested in following the monthly, and I had that as blue, but I did delete that. So going back to these dots, let's assume we sold here. We were crossing lower EMAs. Let's assume we had some triple arrows right here. All of our oscillators lined up, and we're super happy. We're excited. I want to tell you a real story. Boom, everyone's freaking out and losing their mind. But, you know, things are good. It goes in our favor. We're happy, we're happy, we're happy. Yay. The problem is, again, you see this area right here? I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see it. Hopefully my mouse doesn't get weird on me. The problem is this area right here, the odds are there were dots right here. See how we didn't break below this area for all these candles? Now that doesn't seem like much, but it's compounded over the amount of trades you take. This is a big deal. So let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 candles is enough to hold it. So we know there were dots here. The difference is you just gave up another 40-ish pips. Okay, 40 pips that you were already right on. You already knew, oh, sorry, silly. You already knew you were right. Now this is obviously ugly. Odds are it was news, odds are it was something. Again, none of my business, and I'm not super worried. This is where that whole weakness of protecting your trade comes into play, the weakness of being a protective trader. This is what makes that look like a really ugly idea, because obviously we were in profit, we were happy, and then we protected our profit as we should, and boom, it went against us right before it dropped again. So learning how to catch this move in its entirety. So this is from the 20th to the, what is that, the 1st. So let's just say 10 days. We went against us by approximately 60 pips. Most people would be freaking out and saying it's a horrible system, it doesn't work, or this or that, bad plan, da 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 da. The deal is a difference in 160, 150 pip profit versus 80 pip profit. Again, that's provided you didn't get out when the dots first appeared here, which is only 30 pips. Keep in mind the dots also appeared here, which pretty much means you made nothing or you closed it early. Yeah. Forex fanatic, isn't your name Eric? How many minutes into the odd news is released?
1 minute.
What is it again? What's the news?
CPI, I think.
CPI, huh?
Yeah, it's odd CPI.
That one's not gonna work.
I'm just waiting on it because I'm in odd USD.
Are you still trying to sell it, or are you buying it?
I'm still selling it.
How many pips are you negative?
I've actually recovered from draw. Well, not completely, but hold on. Let me pull up Info Plus. I don't even know.
I'll take a look with you.
Mm-hmm.
Still no major pattern. I mean, it's got a wick to the top side. Saying so, but it's already completed that. So we've wicked down. This could be news just to push it up.
No, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Oh, news is up.
But this isn't a super fast mover, so you should be reasonably safe. I mean, even if you held this trade for longer than we needed to, like, worst case, it's 100 pips against you would take a whole bunch of work. Probably not going to happen. So you're safe. You're good.
All right.
Just so you know. We know that this is going to sell. It's not ready to sell yet, but we're pretty confident it will. A lot of us were buying it up because it was going up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we sold it down. But if you trade protectively, so a lot of times you're going to get knocked out, but you're going to get knocked out in profit, which isn't always bad. It's just a safe. That's all. That's a big wick to the downside, though. Not pretty.
Yeah,
Okay,
let's see how it plays out.
go ahead. Yeah, you're gonna have to. I mean, if you only take a couple trades a week, you'll be fine. You'll be totally fine.
Cool.
Okay, so we talked about the monthly, which again could have some benefit. If that's your thing, and it's an asset, it's one more confirmation on your list of rules, on your list of your list of entry, decisions, great. If you have the weekly and it's one more thing that you're going to say, woo woo, if this is another checklist on my confirmation, as in it's not mandatory, but it's a nice option. So imagine yourself creating a checklist. You can whiteboard it, you can, laminate it, whatever it takes, and check them off. Let's say you create a list of 15 confirmations between price action, your indicators, your arrows, and everything else that you use, currency strength indicators and news, right? So you have price action, currency strength indicators, your triple arrows, indicators, support resistance. You have all these confirmations. Well, you can have the weekly on there and the monthly on there as a check, but none of those are necessary. The concept is you need 12 out of 15 of these to take the trade, or you need 10 out of 15 of these to chart the trade, or you need 13 out of 15, depending on how you want to set up your rules. That's how you set them up. So I'm telling you all that to say this. Keep your weekly, keep your monthly. It's one more check on your checklist. So when you're unsure of a trade, you're like, if I'm wrong, I'm going with the monthly. If I'm wrong, I'm going with the weekly, and you're happy about it. So it gives you one more piece of confidence, of comfort, because that's essentially all we're searching for. Which now brings me to this. So these have proven to reset far too often. So for the sake of this conversation, I'm going to delete those. What if we only took trades in the same direction as the daily and the weekly? I don't know if I kept the weekly on here or not. I did. So what if those were the other ones we took? Or better yet, what if we only took trades in the direction of the daily dot? If we're going to use them, we're going to trust them. Your best bang for your buck is to look more at the daily and to truly dig into how these work, what you see, and how to trade them. So if you pick your favorite EMA or your favorite oscillator, your favorite triple arrows, and you say, okay, as long as there's daily dots and I get my triple arrows on the 1 hour, I'm going to take the trade. As long as there's daily dots and I've got my triple arrows, or I've got my ADX and my MACD, well, whatever it is your eyes see, which I can't make you. I can show you all the coolest tools. I can show you totally naked charts and all the coolest tools that looks like a dashboard for a super jet thingy. But at the end of the day, if you can't see it and comprehend it, it is serving you no purpose. So my suggestion would be, and the ultimate lesson, is pick what you see best. Pick what works for you based off of your time schedule, the level of number and level of entries you want to have per week, per day, or per month, and create a strategy using that. Maybe consider using the daily dots. Unless you're scalping or using time frames less than the 1 hour, skip the 4 hour dots. If you're using time frames less than the 1 hour, those 4 hour dots are pretty handy. So for scalping, they definitely have a value. But for longer term trades, I don't really see a value personally. And if they work for you as a Stairmaster to tell you to get back into something that's already moving, you should totally do it that way. Derek, I prefer 2 or prefer 1 closed. So remember, this right here is the day chart. So this currently is an Asian session. So we're not even 30% through. Once we talked about this a lot, and a couple of us tested this as well, as in terms of what can work. So one of the schools of thought was, what if we just took it on 1 dot? And I said, okay, the only way I would consider taking it on 1 dot was if it was in the New York session. So that means the dot has already held steady for whatever happened in Asia, and whatever happened, Asian session, and whatever happened in the London session. So if it didn't push through at that point, granted, there are still no guarantees. It's still the traders are in charge. Then you have a, what is that, 66% chance that you're going to be a lot more accurate in terms of it being stable. Nothing is guaranteed. Personally, I'm going to want 2 dots. So that means the first one closed 5 p.m. the next day. I'm going to check to see if it lines up with my rules. If it's lining up with my rules, I can take it. And look, we keep adding stuff to our charts. We keep messaging each other and saying, hey, what about this indicator? And hey, what does that mean? And well, this person must have it all figured out because they posted results. True, to an extent. But what I want you to see is this has 2 indicators on it, 2. And I promise you, even this alone would work X percentage of the time, like enough to make you money percentage of the time. So keep in mind, this will repaint. Some of them will disappear. It's weird how some of them stay still. That has to do with the algorithm in terms of how much it moves away from it. And I've asked about that, and I've asked other people to tell me about that. Never got a clear answer, so I don't want to teach you uncertainty, uncertainty, whatever word. And now that we're staying still, I don't know how or why this happens per se. And I don't want to be wrong when I teach you. But most of the time, when you have a couple of dots, that second dot, that's where we want it to be. So this one would have worked against you. But if you always protect your trade, you closed out in profit. Most of the time, if you always protect your trade, you'll close out in profit like way close to 100%. So even on this one, we take it on the second dot. Let's use a not perfect example. So a bad example. This one. We either took it in New York, which means we took it here because it broke above that, which would have been a good indicator to take it anyways. Or B, we took it after 5 p.m. and the spreads chilled out. Because this is where the candle opened, came down here, and then went up. So odds are we got in here because that's probably around the time the spreads chilled out. Because we don't take trades at 5 p.m. Eastern. We have to wait for the spreads to chill. Even in this case, that's 100 pips. Your only job is to take the trade and then use a trailing stop, or take the trade, and once you're in profit, move your stop loss up. And you test this. Please don't listen to me. Please stop listening to everybody. I want you to start seeing things for yourself. So the trade opened here. Let's use another bad example versus a perfect one. Remember, we're not going to get in when it first opens because the market's no good. So you'd have to wait till like at least 6 p.m. Eastern. So here we are, which is not the great time to enter the trade. It went against you by 50-ish pips. It went for you by 155. And this is the ugly move. This isn't the pretty one. This is ugly. This is not perfect. Because that's what I want you guys to see is when you follow this set of rules, even on the not perfect ones, because we can all show you this move. Duh. No brainer. Hello, that's perfect. I mean, obviously, that's just, cream of the crop. There's no one who needs to tell you that you made $1 bajillion and now you bought a Lambo or you donated it, depending on who you are. This is 1,600 pips, but you can already see that. What I want you to see, because you guys don't know how to take this trade and have that much confidence in it. Come on, silly. There we go. But what I want you to see is if you take this trade, everyone who's terrified of taking it late, everyone who's terrified of trusting their analysis and compounding accordingly. So you can start with your 0.5s, but you should get up to, oh, come on. Sorry, guys. It's the mouse. So we're going to use this not perfect one because it's the one on my screen. Not perfect, that's our first, and this is our second. So it opened here. What is this, a bullish candle, right? So it opened here, closed here, went all the way up. So if it opened here and we got in a little bit later, oh, guys, I'm so sorry. I don't know why it's doing that at all. But test this for yourself is the point. Most of these would win. This one's tricky. This one might lose, actually. So this is a bullish candle. It means it opened here, a bearish candle. It opened here and closed here. So if you got in a little bit later than it started and you were trying to buy, it went against you a lot, a whole bunch. But technically, you would have been in profit. Up until that next dot appeared, you would have been in profit. So it just all depends on how you see the chart, okay? Does anybody have any specific questions in terms of how the dots work or how to use them or what they see or what your thoughts are in terms of these exact dots? Any of these dots? Because there's tons of questions in terms of what Elvis is doing and what so-and-so said about the weekly, daily, monthly, and what so-and-so said about the 4-hour daily, weekly. And then somebody in the group just said something else about, what did he say, monthly? He said something, I'll tell you. What is it? or that monthly, weekly, and daily. So he focuses on pairs for the particular week only if they have the monthly, weekly, and daily match. So that's what Gary does. The point is, most of this would work if you find a work to. How did JPY do? It pushed up, but that wasn't hard to figure out, though. And it doesn't move a lot, so it's not like in a bunch of jeopardy. That's a nice double top, though, on the daily time frame. So now we can kind of see what it's going to do from there. And this wick, we wouldn't necessarily count as uber relevant because of the news. So that's a no biggie. But doesn't JPY have some massive news still coming? Anybody know? So there's our daily. What is our weekly time frame saying on this one? It's now saying to buy. But see how we kind of broke down, we're now retesting. So this zone, if you guys will, really wish I could just draw a box, but this is not trading view. I'll change the color, make it a little bit more visually, I don't know, readable. We'll make it blue, or that color is fine too. This is an entire zone, so price stop there for it to come in this zone and kind of retest in the side. So we broke below, kind of almost have a W pattern. Anyways, we just are waiting to see if it's going to break out to the top side and actually reverse, or if it's going to go down. But it has to break this high before we're going to look to buy. We want it to break, retest, and then buy long term to match your guys' weekly dots. To me, the weekly isn't super important. To me, this, if I'm just going off the daily dots, how the dots work and the chart set up too. Lamar. So that's what I'm seeing. Notice how you can't even see that daily dot on the other time frames. Just want you to know that one daily dot is there. 4 dots. Let's find out. This is the 4 hours, so we still only have 1 dot because we're still technically in the first 4 hours of the day. Is that? Yeah. So we still only have 1 daily dot. 6 of these will equal 1 day on the 4 hour when looking at the daily dots. So to answer a couple of questions, you guys can first off talk, because I talk all the time. I talk a lot, so you're more than welcome to step up. You guys can raise your hand or ask your questions that way. To take a look at CAD CHF hurt my feelings. This is an impulse move, which is exactly what we wanted to see. It's perfect. It's ideal. It's exactly what we want. It's a breakout move. It's a momentum move. Notice how this candle is bigger than the top. I don't know, what is that, like 9 candles before that? Okay. This candle is not huge for the pair, but again, same concept. This is an area of resistance. So CAD had its election, which I was not aware of. I was incorrect. I didn't pay attention because I'm from America, so I assume every big news thing is Monday through Friday. But other countries like to decide business happens on Saturday. So I was irresponsible, and I did not know that. I didn't even think to look for Saturday. Wasn't even in my mindset. Having said that, they had their election. Canada pushed up hard. They do have an interest rate decision this week. So since everybody and their mother is trying to sell the CAD pairs, I wouldn't be surprised that we have these beautiful breakout moves. And then when that CAD hits, it pumps. Like, honestly, if I had to make a false prediction, which I try not to make, and just to guess, because I always plan for the worst and hope for the best, that's a very, very good chance of that happening. Now, in an ideal trading world where there's not a pending NFP week and a pending CAD interest rate decision, also this is the final quarter of the year. It's a really important quarter fiscally speaking, for most countries, this is a very important time of the year. So aside from all the economics behind this, just looking at this would be your perfect setup. So you have your ascending channel or whatever, this push up, breakout move. Now we're waiting for the correction. The correction should happen about 50% of this engulfing candle. 50% of that hits, great. Okay, and it doesn't retest higher, good chance it could come all the way up to here. So let's show you. Good chance it would come up to anywhere in this zone. 50% of that candle to the previous low. Here's approximately 50% of the body. Here, give or take. This is just eyeballing it, it's not measuring. And this is where the previous, the last support resistance area was. So if it comes up and kind of retests this zone and then drops, that's what we want to see. Because this is the impulse, we're waiting for the correction. So there's all this terminology that as you get more familiar, it gets thrown around a lot. But this is your impulse, your breakout move. This is a true indication, all indicators aside, that price is reversing. Now, mind you, you currently have a doji, you have another wick to the downside, and you have some massive Canadian news coming. So we have to be mindful of that in terms of how we trade and what we see, okay? Where did the impulse move come from? I don't know, Daniel. I mean, somebody might have a way smarter answer than that for me. I don't think most of them would be accurate, but this is, again, an entire country's currency. So CAD pushed up a whole bunch, but think of it this way. We see price numbers and we see quarters theories and we see Elliott waves and we see numbers essentially. But essentially, if I'm going to try to use round numbers and try to make sense, wish me luck. If the Canadian dollar was worth $1 here, ready? That means everything that they buy, sell, and do, economically speaking, is worth $1. Price can't move this much without some amount of balance, without some amount of a retracement. I mean, it can, technically, as you guys can see, US 30 has been going up for 10 years. But in general, like the basic ebb and flow of economies and the value of $1, if this just continues to go up, their economy is going to have catastrophic repercussions. So there must be a balance, and it must flow within reasonable political and economic sense for what their standard of life and living and dollar usage is. I don't know if any of that made sense, but I can't tell you. This wasn't news driven. CHF didn't have any news as far as I know, although it's really hard to find accurate news in terms of the chef. It is a safe haven currency like gold. So it wasn't CHF in this case either way. We all know CAD is what dropped. That's why all the CAD pairs did so well today. CAD was beautiful. It was perfect. But it was supposed to be perfect last week if it wasn't for the election. The election drove the value of the dollar up. I forget, there's a gentleman on our six-figure call who said something, and I don't want to be inaccurate, so I'm not going to tell you, but something about their economy is good or something because of the election. Don't ask me what it was, because I forget. So this is the aftermath of that. So everyone's super excited, but by Tuesday they kind of forgot. This is just, that's it. It's high news coming. Yes. The Brit election is December the 12th. Hey, Chris, you can tell me that every week between now and December the 12th. Because for some reason, I catch every news event, but I always miss the elections. That's happened to me a couple of times, actually, in my trading career. Didn't know about the election that wasn't American. So, no idea. But either way, I don't want to predict what made this happen, and I don't think there is a way to actually know. And we can guess, we can say, well, it hit a whole number. We can say it hit support and resistance. We can say it had wicks and it was vectoring. We can say all kinds of stuff. But I don't think any of it's like 100% accurate. I think it's a balance of all of it. So we've hit resistance. This has been going up. No more Brexit for a bit. Thank God. So over Brexit, and I'm an American. I could not imagine living there. So this is the daily time frame. I'm going to go to the weekly. An impulse move is a very strong move. that takes place after a period of consolidation or at the end of a very large decline, or in this case, uprise, right?
So the odd part is that an impulse like that that's unattached to specific events winds up being then a big bank deal.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
If there aren't external events, things happening that are broadcast, then somehow one or more of the big banks got together and decided that they needed to move in a particular direction.
See, but that's not an answer. That's a non-answer. So that's saying
that's correct. That's right.
Okay. I'm like, that's not an answer. That's a non-answer. That's what I just said. Like, so that's just it. We have no way of knowing. So it's a non-answer. But they're relevant. They're very important. Pay attention to the engulfing candles, the big moves. Yeah. What I'm seeing is, I personally know, like, I'm super loyal to Pat's group. I'm fiercely loyal to the vision that I know he has in terms of making an impact and not just making money. We're working with a lot of stuff behind the scenes and we're trying. So having said all that, I do still participate, mostly just silently in the background, in 2 other groups. One of them because I love the person involved. They're a great person in terms of integrity and I like who they are. And then another group because, to be honest, they legit have some cool tools. And I bought in when it was a lifetime membership. And now they cost, quite a bit of money per month. So those are 2 groups I'm still actively involved in. Of course, I have 1,000 Telegram channels I'm still subscribed to. Sometimes I check, sometimes I don't. Getting past that long story, there was something discussed in there about CAD JPY a couple weeks ago. It hit stop loss, but you're talking a lot of people with a lot of money. These aren't 0.10 or 0.1 or 0.9, lot size traders. These are people who, stack until the broker stops letting you stack, not your margin, but the broker. Okay. They stack different. They make, they trade different. So when you have that many people trying to sell CAD, I'm sure it wasn't just one broker. It's many, many brokers. And you have that many people trying to sell. Every broker on the planet has X amount of wiggle room. Technically, price has to legally hit certain points to still be legal. I don't know a lot of that to be accurate, and I don't want to misinform. But brokers are allowed to, brokers and economies and governments and banks, the big money people, they're allowed to withhold all the information. For example, we had all this consolidation here. This is the weekly time frame. So you got to think we haven't been past this since July. I mean, so that's a lot of consolidation. But since everybody was looking to sell here, there's no doubt that a lot of banks would not withhold their, currency exchanges, withhold political news, withhold political decisions, withhold, a lot. And I don't know what I don't know. But either way, they would simply place a buy. They knock out every single seller. And this isn't a fast mover, but it's enough to blow accounts, especially at those lot sizes. So now they made billions of dollars on this itty bitty move, pushing it up higher. And now that they're at the best price, they're going to sell it down. But first, they wanted to take and knock out all those sellers, because most of us retail traders don't have another 20,000 to go dump in there again. We'll have to build it up. A lot of us are going to put a couple $100 in and say, okay, we'll start again. Some of us are gamblers and we'll say, yeah, we'll drop the 10 grand in. We're that confident. But the majority, this was the big money move. Ready? This move right here. Oopsie. Okay. This move, which is only 65, give or take pips. I promise you, and there's ways to find this out. I could probably post you about 5 or 6 sites where you follow the money and follow the open and closed orders. This 65 pip move, the odds are, was worth 20 times as much as this entire move will be.
So it took everyone out because of their tighter stop losses.
Well, yeah, it's not just that, but we as retail traders, we don't know what we don't know. So when the banks do this, remember, the banks are our little, even if we have a 6-figure account, that's not going to move the market. What's going to move the market are the big money. So now you have this Canadian election, And banks that have literally billions of dollars start buying CAD, they're going to drive the price of CAD up. Okay, so they do this intentionally. Like they push. And right when everybody says, okay, well, we made a higher high, for example, here, which I'm a higher high kind of trader. As you guys all know, if any of you follow me, I am that person. Now, in terms of this, there's structure. That's why I wasn't buying personally. But you knocked out all these people. They spent 1 billion to make 20 billion just on this move. Ready? And then we get here. This is just the psychology of it. And once you understand that, you trade different. So from here, this high to here, knocked all those stop losses out. The banks made billions upon billions buying that small move. Well, now the retail traders and all the little monies in the little places and investors and hedge funds all say, oh, we made a higher high, which is something I can honestly say out loud I would have said if I'm not looking at structure. I do look at higher highs. I definitely do. So what do? You get a whole boatload of people who just reloaded their accounts fresh and frisky to start buying. Well, it goes in your favor, but you don't always want to protect it because we want to catch the big move. 20 pips, and now it drops. And this isn't a big fast mover. If this was, GBP, this would be hundreds of pips. But then it drops. So again, everyone's stop loss, which is probably right here most of the time, it's going to be at support, gets hit for the buy. And it's just this psychological game. That's really all it is. It's not uber complex to figure out. Alex, I don't really care for that pair. I think I love NZD though. Let's see. Odd is slicing my heart right now. Oh, let's take a look. That sounds like one of those little memes. What are those little memes? You guys know what I'm talking about? They're really sweet. They kind of look like ghostly faces. They're all like heartbroken and loving, and they're like, here's my heart, please don't stomp on it. Like, you guys know what I'm talking about? Well, that's what that sounded like, Eric. It's slicing my heart. No, it's not a Hallmark, Mom. I'll find it. It's like something. I know what it's called. I'm going to post one in the group and you'll be like, oh, I see. So just hear my voice saying, oh, Odd is slicing up my heart right now. And then see this picture, and I promise you will see what I mean. It's like perfect analogy of that sentence right there. Chris said, Derek, you're quiet. No, he's not. Derek's been super talkative. Haven't you, Derek?
Yes, ma'am.
I know, right? Okay, so here we are. We're right there. Come on. It barely moved. You can't even fuss about it because it's such a slow mover. Ooh la la. Come on, baby. That's crazy, no? There we go. But we still haven't even made a higher high, which I just said wasn't the way to go. Sour Patch Gummies, first they're sweet, then they're sour. Oh yeah? I know people who love Sour Patch Gummies.
Check out NCAD.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Check out NCAD.
Is it moving?
NZD CAD. Mm-hmm.
If it will let me, I'm gonna go to show all. I signed into a big broker that doesn't have, $250 in it, Donna. Into a demo account that I wanted to. My other broker's freezing. I'm gonna have to let Derek come clean it for me. I'm gonna have to call them, and I don't know if to go buy some. I'm gonna go shopping tomorrow. I've been shopping all week. What? My daughter's like, so you were shopping a lot. I showed him this cool little hair curler thing I ordered. I was like, looky, and then some other stuff in a phone case, and then I went and bought these super yummy ice creams, and my daughter's like, so you're shopping? I was like, there's another package coming. And yeah.
See, you proved it, Jenny. You proved it.
Well, I didn't have a $150 weekend, Derek. I had a free weekend.
Like The Rock says, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
I had this big debate with a lot of my ex-coworkers, and they always tease us guys because, we have our toys too. But I said, guys, do not compare to women when it comes to shopping. And they just ripped me up. And so we were in Dubai. And I said, let's walk through all the malls and let's count all the stores that are dedicated to men. And one hand was still had fingers able to wiggle.
That's so bad.
If we would have counted the stores dedicated to women, we would have been chopped up.
Yeah, y'all don't have enough hands for that. Y'all don't even have enough hands. Like legit, honestly, guys, I'm not even that much of a shopper. But like this week, there were some things that I wanted and I wanted to get them. And that's not bad. Just so you know.
No. It's ladies bring sparkle in men's life because me by myself, I'll just have white, empty walls.
Well, exactly. See? Exactly. Now I'm gonna have to get my eyelashes done or something because Donna's got me like addicted. She sent me a picture of her eyelashes. I was like, oh my God, I'm in love.
We got
They
the two
look
glamour girls.
so pretty. No, they like legit, they're stinking gorgeous, like amazing. She looks like a little princess. Like seriously, to me, it's like the most, it's
Oh, you're
feminine.
so funny.
Seriously, like I love it. I even showed Rosie. She was like, oh my gosh, Mom, you can totally do that. I was like, yeah, I can.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I get that from my nephew. Okay, so this is NZD CAD. It's awesome. I love it, and it's good. Odd CAD is still moving. We can only pick so many CAD pairs right now because we have to be smart. We can't jump in them all because they're all really, really pretty. They're all pretty. This was a signal that we took in the SuperEZ group. I will take a look at Odd CAD. We got a super early entry on Odd CAD because again, I was looking at structure. So when you add structure, so this is the 4-hour chart. Okay, this 1, 2, this would be the most of the way through the first candle. This is the soonest I would take it is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, to take that trade in terms of the yellow dots specifically that are set the daily time frame. Let's see. So we got a couple of us got a pretty good entry. I don't remember what it was. I think it was 8911, give or take. I'm pretty sure. So we got a great entry. That's how much we're up. And that's not a fast mover either. So that's kind of awesome. Kind of awesome. But we can't take them all. It's not smart. EuroCAD has a pattern. So I started kind of scaling. You're welcome. Well, I don't want to pull up other charts. This is a different broker because, well, mine's freezing. Thank you, technology. This was perfect and beautiful. That's nice, but we definitely need to pull back. We've got a doji on the top, an evening star, whatever you want to call it, shooting star, evening star, whatever. Let's see. Akbar. So listen, for the person who just messaged me privately, to use the daily dots in conjunction with the triple arrow system. If you were asking what I think, I told you, but let me make it super clear so you can write it down. No pun intended, but this is the message we want to get across, okay? The message I want to get across tonight is that you can use every single one of these dots in the way that you see fit according to the rules you create. So I'm going to say that again. You can use these dots however you see fit based off of the way you're trading, however you want to. If it was me, I, again, would recommend having a checklist that says, if I have triple arrows or quadruple, if I'm using the seabird, what you guys call it, the entry arrow, I was around a little longer, so we called it the seabird. Let me drop this on the chart real quick. This is 4-hour. I will make it my pretty colors. That's not gonna work. Okay. So you can use these however you see fit. The best way to use them, in my opinion, you can take your triple arrows in the same direction as the daily dots. That's one way to use them. Another way to use them is you can take them based off of whatever indicators you use. So for example, your triple arrows or 4, maybe your oscillators, your favorite oscillators. If let's say you have a total of 15 possible confirmations, you can use them here actually. Let me I'll move the chat over. If you've got a minute, I'll do this real quick. I will show you. I will go to my triple arrow system. I will even go to CAD JPY. I'll move this down. Come on. And then I'll make it big. Okay. What is wrong with me? Hold on. Minimize. There we go. I'm going to take this and make it big. Bear with me while I bounce around this screen. I just don't want to close it because then Zoom gets all kinds of crazy on me. So enough to let you guys see everything you need to see clearly without any drama. So this is our triple arrow system. On this chart, we have our 4-hour dots and our daily dots. How do you use them? You can use them about 100 ways, okay? We clearly have triple arrows right here. I don't have the entry arrow. If you do, great. That's one more piece of evidence for you. Father God, please. Okay. Hopefully my mouse will stop moving. So 1, 2, 3, we have our triple arrows. In this case, we had 4-hour dots and we also had our daily dots, right? In this case, we had enough things line up. So according to the rules on this chart specifically, I'm not saying you should do this or not do this. What I am saying is on this chart specifically, we had our crossover of our MACD, we have our break of our 0 line. So to me, that counts as 1 and that counts as 2 on a checklist of how many things can I do in my favor to have confidence in this trade. Literally create a list of saying, I will not enter the trade unless I have 10 out of 15 confirmations. So on this chart, for example, I'm going to count the confirmations with you. So the crossover of our color, our price line and our signal line is 1. The break of the 0 is 2. On this right here, it's a little mumble jumbly. I'll try to zoom in. There we go. So again, this is the same area. This one technically has my RSI dropped in there, and then it has my currency strength indicator. So in and around this area, right when we have our 1, we have to wait for our yellow arrow. Our yellow arrow is already there, and our little arrow, which again, this one doesn't repaint as much. I stink and love that arrow. Okay. So for the sake of conversation, I'm going to draw a line. Okay. So 1, break of the 0 is 2. My RSI is officially above the 50%. That counts as 3 for me. I don't trade RSI above or below. I don't trade that overbought, oversold. I find it very, very inaccurate. So the RSI would be 3 because it's above the 50. My currency crossover provided, let's see, which is which. Green is JPY. So if I'm looking to buy, JPY needs to be on top of the orange. So right here, it's not ready yet. So I'd have to wait until my my JPY has to be on bottom. So CAD has to be on top. I'm sorry. I just want to be super accurate. So my currency strength indicator is saying that CAD is stronger than JPY. So JPY needs to be on bottom. In this case, that's the green line and the orange line. That counts as 4. Now going to my ADX, I need my momentum to be above the 25 line. And I need buyers to be above and sellers to be below, which doesn't happen until over here. Okay. But so far, right here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. This doesn't count. 6, 7, 8, right? We have our 4-hour dots, which is 9, our daily dots, which is 10. And when I check the chart at this time, pretending this is when I check the chart, we have our 8 and 18 crossover, which is, what is that, 11? For those of you who use the money tree string line, this would have been green, give or take, I can't say. But that would be 12 if I had it. I'm not going to count it because I don't have it on here. Okay, we also have an engulfing candle. So that's 12, okay? So as we speak, looking at this candle right here, or this chart, so pretending like this is when I came to look at the chart, we have 12 confirmations. If I look at the chart right here, how many confirmations do I have to buy? right here we have 12. So somebody can write down 12 or use that one tool that's on Zoom to write in 12 right there. Now it's up to you if you want to trust the 12 right there, or if you want to say, no, I want to wait for more of a breakout. So the engulfing candle counts as one to me, just so we're on the same page. So now I'm going to move a little bit further down the line. Perfectly, in a perfect world, okay, which isn't always the case. We all know that. We want it to be. Flowers and happiness, of course, sounds amazing. Working on it, though. So same concept. Let's count them up. Ready? We have our crossover. We broke the 0 line, right? Okay. We have our RSI well above the 50, which is exactly what I want. So this was 3. So that's 1, 2, 3. We have a nice gap of our currency strength. It's telling us to definitely, it's going to be buying. That's 4. My ADX matches my rules, which my ADX rules are my momentum, which is the white line, needs to be above the 25, and the buyers need to be in control, sellers need to be against it. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 down here. So again, if I'm checking the chart on this candle, ready? That's 5. Our triple arrows is 6, 7, 8. Our green lines, so that's our 4 hour, is 9. Our daily dots is 10. Our 8 and 18 is 13. Our engulfing candle for me counts as a confirmation. What is that? 14. I can't keep count now. I'm counting out loud. On this case, we also broke above the 50. So that's 15. And we also made a higher high in terms of the fractals. Right here, not so much because we would have had to break here. But over here, we broke past this higher high. So over here, I could probably count, give or take, 16, 17 different confirmations. It's okay. I don't mind you sending me a private message. You just have to click either to me or to everyone. Don't worry about it, though. Hey, Crystal, have a fantastic night at work. It was great for you to jump on and hang out with us. Some of y'all got to talk more and hang out more. I can't just listen to myself talk all the time. Can you share the indicator you have here for the news to show and also the ADR? I cannot share that news indicator. It's coded. I'm sorry. And the bar alert I will give to the regular SuperEZ group. Again, Donna, do you mind putting that in the SuperEZ group? I know there's something I have to share with the 6-figure group that I will share. But I just came in here and wanted to set up my chart. So for those of you who know, my little guy got bit by something, and his hand looks like a tennis ball. And he had little bumps all the way up his arm, and it was just a mess. And yeah, it was crazy. So
hey, say that again. I heard my name.
Can you please drop the bar alert in the SuperEZ chat for me, pretty please?
Oh yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate you. What is the main
No
difference
problem.
between the daily dots and the 6-figure dots secured? They repaint less. So depending on the time frame, they repaint anywhere from 10 to 20 some odd % less. Thank you, Dottie. I appreciate it. They repaint less. And I like the way they're programmed. I like how stable they are. So I don't know. I like the way they look. I don't prefer that star, which Pat laughs at me because he loves the star. I don't, because it's all gumpy and unnecessary, but I like it because it does show you when one starts and one ends when you're stacking them. So, I mean, everything has advantages and disadvantages. At the end of the day, it comes down to you being able to create a set of rules and then stick with them. So for those of you who want to go only off the monthly and the weekly, there's a lot of potential there. Worst case scenario is one more check on your checklist. Best case scenario, you're going to take a lot less trades, which might be good for some of you because some of you are over trading and that's what's wrong. So I don't think there's any super right or wrong answer. I just wanted to show you that there's a lot of different ways to do things. It's not just one. This one doesn't have the daily on there. Let's go to a higher time frame. Oh, sorry, the weekly. Let's go to a higher time frame and look real quick. Okay, so this is the weekly. I did put it on here. I thought I did. So this has the weekly time frame. Again, I don't find it to be super, super important in comparison to the daily dots. The daily dots to me are they're still most important. And I don't want to miss out on that many rules and that many moves. I don't want to be that person, which doesn't mean it's wrong. In fact, it might be exactly right. It's 40 degrees where you're at, John. It was like 76 at 5. What is that? A little bit before 6 a.m. this morning. Lamar, that's programming and that's your settings, which I'm sure we can maybe work with you in the SuperEZ group. It's odds are it's your settings. So you need to have the capacity. Pat kind of backed off of that dashboard, but not because it's not amazing. It's amazing, but not everybody knows how to use it. So that becomes just a quality control nightmare. He's still one person. Like, he wants to help people, and he's at the point where he's paying people out of his own pocket to help and to volunteer. And a lot of us are doing a lot of calls, and we can only get to so many messages a day. So when you have hundreds of people trying to use that dashboard and they don't even comprehend how to use their MT4, it becomes just a QR nightmare. So in terms of that dashboard, or sorry, the daily dot, please come to the one of mine, or probably not Irving's, I guess it's just me. So I guess it's going to be me. Come to mine, and I'll remote into your computer. Because as you know, like, the morning hangouts are more of a hangout, like we just chat and talk about really odd stuff today, man. Thought about that after the call. It's like funny where our conversations go sometimes. It's hilarious. So
Yeah, please don't ask Irvin about that.
I know, right? It's bad, you guys. It's so bad. Yeah, please. Back to what we started with. Let's see, Derek, did you work out? How often? How to clean up the MT4? He's got a video. He shared it in the group. Derek, will you pretty please reshare that video in the SuperEZ group too?
Oh, sure. I'll do that right now.
It's just a great way to do this. DJ, oh, you've got my attention. Okay, so DJ said, this is random, but I don't have a lot of time to trade because I'm at work a lot. So I started trying to attempt to build a robot that mimics my rules.
Hello.
Thing I'm noticing early on is that the less rules I have, the better risk to reward ratio and the better the results. Soon I will have no choice but to follow my rules. DJ 2.0 coming soon. That's stinking awesome. I would love to chat with you about that. Like, I've been thinking about maybe coming up with a bot, like, but I want somebody who I trust to build it. So not somebody who's gonna try to sell it. I just don't want to sell it. If I wanted to be in sales, I wouldn't be here. That's all. I would totally be interested in that. DJ, that's stinking awesome. And you're right, but just so you guys know, the reason why the less rules, the better the risk reward, because the less rules, it's because you're holding the trade longer, right? DJ, are you there? I know you're not at work right now, are you? You might be. What time is it? You might be.
Hi, Jenny. This is Maurice. I have a question.
Yes, sir. How can I help you?
I'm pretty new to this family, and I purchased the 6-figure challenge, and since the time that I installed the daily dots and the dashboard that came with that package, for some reason my computer, or when I installed that, my systems actually went crazy. It's barely working. Is it because I need some, like, a BPS or better computer? Because now I'm at a point where I can't even access the I'm able to access the MT4, but it doesn't do anything.
Okay, so granted, this is a question for the 6-figure group, but I appreciate you. So here's the deal. Number one, you need a VPS. Anybody who keeps trading and says they don't, they're just fooling themselves. A VPS will make sure that all of your tools, bots, and programs will continue to run. If this is to be your career, there is no reason you should be fussing over $20 or $30 a month. Most people's college degrees are like $250,000. So sorry to be a little bit direct, but it's important. So having I want
That's
people
that,
to have that
that's
data.
fine. That's fine. Can do you recommend certain BPS or
The truth is there's a lot of really good ones. The one I like it because they were nice to me. I like them because when I had problems, they were there. They walked me through stuff. When I had issues, so most of the time you have to delete your whole MT4, right? So like what you're experiencing right now, the problem is the odds are you have to delete your entire MT4 to fix it.
okay?
But having a good VPS means they can dissect it with their computer smarts. I don't know how to say it, but they'll dissect it. So they'll take all the oscillators and indicators and bot things with the codes and everything. They'll put them in a subfolder. They'll essentially get you a new version of the MT4 and then put all that stuff back for you. And they do that all. Like they're super proficient. And that alone was worth me choosing them. So that's why, and you can message me and I'll send you a referral link. You'll get like $5 off or something, and I'll get like I think I get 64 cents for every month you're enrolled if you get the basic package. It's not a lot, but it's something. So
All right.
but I want to answer you in terms of the VPS because I want other people to know this. The VPS, and I still want to pull Pat's arm, and he knows I love him, so I'm going to say this anyways. But I want to pull his arm and say we need to keep the dashboard because it's powerful and it can help a lot of people. The problem is too many people, no pun intended, they don't know how to use it. So when we said it was powerful, we mean it's powerful. It's going to, it probably froze up everything. That sucker is it's its own machine. It's meant to do everything. So your current options in terms of how to handle where you're currently at is the odds are you're going to need to, if you can't open it long enough to uninstall it, which sounds like the case.
That's exactly what's happening. But
Yeah.
this is just on my demo account, and I'm already getting ready to fund my live account. But I know since I started having that problem, I haven't done anything, and that's why I'm asking you. And I'm sorry if I'm in the wrong chat, but I just needed to find out what was going on. If that was the cause of that.
Okay, so wait, listen here. So hear me out for a second. I don't know how many minutes we are into this recording. Let's just assume an hour and 20 minutes, okay? So I want you to re-listen to this when you need to go back through this. And anybody who asks questions about the dashboard or the daily dots and how to use it and what to do, direct them to this video at an hour and 20 minutes. So hopefully that will clear up some of our issues.
Okay.
Where you're at currently, because we started wrong, no pun intended to you, the odds are your best bet is to log into a different platform. So even if you're trading off of AAFX, you can log into your AAFX broker account on Trader's Way platform or on Hugo's Way platform MT4. And I highly recommend you stay logged in to most of your brokers on most of your MT4s. For one reason, if something ever happens with that MT4 and you're in a big money trade, you don't want to be frantically fumbling with your cell phone. That's the worst feeling ever. Like it's stressful. It makes you like get weird looks on your face. It's not a happy experience. So number one, whatever accounts you have that are important to you, make sure you log into those brokers on every platform you have. So download a platform from Trader's Way, Hugo's Way, CoinX, AFX. Number two, because your computer wasn't clean, your MT4 wasn't ready, and you downloaded something that was probably too powerful for either A, your internet, or B, your computer. I'm not an expert, but from what I've done troubleshooting, your best bet today is to literally go to your program files and delete the entire MT4 off of your computer. From there, okay, next step is Derek. How do you say your last name, Derek? Casares?
Castaneris.
Castaneris, okay. Derek Castaneris posted a link in the group that says MT4 cleanup. It's a YouTube link. So go find that, clean up your entire computer, your entire MT4s, whatever ones you still have.
Okay.
And then now moving forward, if you're going to be in the business of trading and you want to use any kind of a bot, an EA, a dashboard, or anything with any power, I highly recommend you pick a VPS. Again,
I will do that.
And I will send you what link I use. I only recommend them, not because a billion reasons or they're the fastest or the best. I recommend them because their customer service is amazing. And when you have a problem, they will sync it to the right server in the right country, and they'll clean your stuff up for you and make it to where you don't lose everything. Other companies I've worked with, I lost everything because of a problem. With them, if I have a problem, they save everything and then they fix it, which to me is worth its price in gold. So your next step is going to be get a VPS. I don't care which one you use. More than welcome to message me. Mine just says customer service. Great. If not, choose whatever one you want. VPSs are great because they allow you to run powerful tools. They also allow you to have all your stuff running even without burning out your computer by leaving it on all the time.
Do they, can you install multiple brokers in there? Multiple?
Oh, sweetie, I've got like, I don't know, anywhere. Typically I have 6 open at a time, but I have about 12 on there. So
Okay.
you can use all your trading files on there. You can do all of it. You could make your VPS your go-to. And if you were smart, you would even back up that VPS to an external drive once a month or once a week, depending on what you got going on. And then even if the internet shut down or something, like you'd have everything you need forever. So.
Okay. Thank you so much for your help.
You're welcome. Oh, I'm not done yet because I'm going to answer you, and it's not just like it's for everybody else too. So once you have the VPS, your job again is to download multiple brokers, their platforms. You can still stick with your AFX and your Hugo's Way, log into each of them on each different platform, so you're safe and not sorry later. And then pick one platform to download that dashboard on. Don't open 5 charts on that platform. Open 1 chart. And then when you upload it, it's important that you please don't try to enter in all 27 pairs and all the time frames. So the first time you upload it, at least to give it a chance to think and catch up, okay? What you're going to do is pick, let's just say, we don't know your internet capacity, so let's just guesstimate where it's going to say 15 pairs. Pick 15 pairs to give you daily dot and triple arrow alerts on. And then you're going to pick 2 time frames, such as the 4-hour and the 1 hour. Okay. That's going to take enough time to think and process and do what it needs to do and just start functioning properly. Once it's functioning properly, again, you only have 1 chart open at the time. You also don't want to have 1,000 pairs to the left. Let me pull this open so you guys can see this. You don't want to have 1,000 pairs like I currently have. This is a no-no. This is bad business.
Okay.
All this stuff has to pull data every second. Okay. So any ones you're not trading, delete from that broker. And all you have to do is just go to Twitter, say no, thank you. You can go to, I know how to do this. Hide. There it is. And do that on all the pairs because this is pulling data. And of course, Derek's video has some other tips and tricks to how to maximize your broker or your platform prior to you trying to download that dashboard. And I promise you, if you want to take all those steps, I think you're going to be in love with it. And if you can show me and maybe show Pat that this video helped somebody, or maybe I can cut out this section of the video and then I can convince people that yes, they can do this, he'll bring it back. But otherwise, currently he's not offering it because it's just a QR nightmare. People don't understand it. And then they blame the product when the product works just fine on my computer, but I have a good computer, and I have my Wi-Fi is literally hardwired into my computer. So I no longer function on Wi-Fi. This is all set up properly for trading. This isn't like fly by night Wi-Fi driven, chilling, you know. Sometimes I play with my laptop, but my basic stuff is it's done right. So the product works, but you have to know how to work it.
Okay. All right.
Okay, that's very long-winded, but hopefully anybody who asks about the dashboard or the daily dot, just remember them to go to this call at 1 hour and 20 minutes.
Thank you again.
Yes. Of course. Let's see. That's about it. I'm looking at the chat real quick. Hey, Jenny, can you send me the info on the VPS? Margosha, happy birthday. Okay. Yes, I can. Just message me in Telegram. I know.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Hey, happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My baby's crying, so I'm going to go back on mute. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Take care of that. I would come cuddle. There you go. Angela had a good point. She said try direct internet, not wireless. Guys, especially when you're first setting it up, do everything in your power to be 100% as good as possible. Anybody who asked me about the VPS, yeah, of course, you can message me. Sorry, I'm working on getting back to everybody. I schedule an hour and a half a day to go through. Sometimes I miss people, especially if you go to the bottom, and then it's like a sea of never endingness. So I will try to make sure I get through on this Friday every single person I've missed, and I got to start deleting some because I can't find anybody. Was eating dinner. I hope you enjoyed your yummy dinner. I hope it was something amazing. Keep an eye out for a task manager to see how the computer is handling the load. Yes, so the task manager is a big deal, but again, once you freeze up your computer with that level of a tool, you can't even access your task manager anymore. You guys don't understand, this is an amazing tool, but if you have a computer that's 10 years old, and I mean, that's kind of what you're working with. You have internet that's Wi-Fi'd in, and your kids are on Netflix, and your wife is on the Wii or something doing a workout, then that's what's going to happen. So there are a couple of trades I'm in, Forex Fanatic. They were discussed this morning in the six-figure group. I didn't want to necessarily go over trades. Most of everything I'll be doing this week is mostly scalping. There are a couple long-term ones I will hold, but it's NFP, so I avoid everything USD for the most part, unless I'm scalping US 30 or something. Chris, yes. So don't get me in trouble, but what I've been doing is I've been telling everybody to go beg Pat and to say, Pat, listen, I understand technology. I promise not to bug you. Can I please have the dashboard as part of the six-figure group, coded in and all? I'll only have it on one account, but I promise you, when you give it to me with the code, I will not ask you 10,000 questions. Like, I think that if you can send him that message and you're in the six-figure group, which remember is only going to be active as long as you're active in the six-figure group. So that should work. But please understand, he was one person moving across country, doing 100% of everything. So of course he had a website and stuff, but it's not enough. So when you have that many emails coming in, you're talking hundreds of people. So let's just assume 10 or 20 of them got it or figured it out on their own. Hundreds of people were like, well, how do I get the code, or where do I put the code? So we're talking about one-on-one problems, okay? Like, this should be basic at this point problems, all the way to the advanced stuff that, like Maurice was talking about, totally not his fault. It's a powerful tool. So they didn't understand it. You're talking about thousands and thousands of oh my God, I don't know what to do. Otherwise, it works amazing. I like it in terms of the daily dots. I don't get it for Stairmasters anymore. I did it first, but again, I feel like they move too much. So Stairmasters in terms of daily dots in the direction of the trips, I'm all for. Stairmasters in terms of 4-hour dots, I'm not for. Just, it's not my style. So doesn't mean it doesn't work. It just means it's not for me. So it's an amazing tool. You'll love it, but be patient with yourself enough to figure it out. That's the problem. And it's not going to be easy. I'm not going to say, hey, it's going to be easy. I don't know your internet. You could live in the country. It could, lose crappy reception because it rains. It's that level of a tool. It's going to pull most of the power you have on your computer. So, but that just goes to show how powerful it is. It's amazing. So, because it does Stairmaster daily dots and it does the triple arrows. So, all right, guys. Well, I've been talking endlessly. Man, I can really talk. I'm getting better at this. Again, next week I want to maybe go back to more of an open format where we can all kind of talk, hang out, and share. I'm trying to do 1 week where we do a lesson we can post in the groups and in the channels and on the website, and 1 week where we hang out even in terms of the regular SuperEZ group. We are eventually coming together slowly but surely. It's taken some time. Yeah, but we're getting there. So the group is amazing. I'm super happy for everyone who's achieving some amazing results. And please just stay true to yourself along the way. You're going to get there. Just give yourself enough time to get there. Okay. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate you. All right, guys. Well, this will be in the back office. Guess what? It'll be there like soon because it's already uploaded to YouTube. That's amazing. Happy Tuesday. Please let me know if you're interested in the nonprofit stuff. Remember what I said, quit looking out to everybody else for the newest tool, to buy the newest system, to get the newest whatever. Just, there's not a lot that you're going to get from everything else as much as you would get from just be diligent. So you guys can totally get there. Thank you, Derek. I appreciate you. Thank you, everybody else. DJ messaged me. I want to talk about a bot because I trust you enough to let you make a bot for me if you know how to make a bot. But I've let a few other people make a bot and then they tried to sell it. And then other people made a bot off of my strategy and then didn't tell me that they sold it. So they didn't tell me they made it, and then they sold it. So anyways, thank you, John, DJ, Margosha, Vince, everybody, William.
Jenny, thank you.
Good night, Barbara. Sweet dreams, everyone. I will talk to you soon. Take care and God bless.
Thanks, Jenny.
Good night, Jenny.
Go Astros.
Thank you.